Calder, you're usually the man that we turn to in situations like this. First of all, did you have any sense before the announcement that this was imminent?
No, and indeed, I mean, I've got many things wrong during this pandemic, but really I wasn't expecting this because it is pressing the nuclear button. Spain, by far the most popular country, any decision to say we're going to have blanket quarantine, 14 days sitting at home, no going out for exercise, no walking the dog, certainly not seeing family or going to work or anything. We're going to impose it for everyone who's on holiday in Spain at less than 5 hours notice. I simply wouldn't have believed it, but that's what we saw on Saturday evening. And of course, since then, well, I'm afraid it's caused immense distress among the hundreds of thousands of people who are currently in Spain and the 2 million or so who are booked to travel there between now and the end of August.
Where does this leave them, Simon? Is there any chance that they can get money back on their holidays that they've planned booked? They've not gone yet. Is there any chance that the Bradys, Joe and Tom, can get money back now the government have changed the rules while they're actually there?
Unfortunately, it's really, really complicated. So if you booked a trip with TUI and you've booked a package holiday to Spain, then you will be entitled to a refund if you want one. With Jet2, who are the second biggest holiday company after TUI, they are saying trips to the Balearics, so Mallorca, Menorca, Ibiza, and to the Canaries, Gran Canaria, Tenerife, Lanzarote, and so on, they will be going ahead as normal because the Foreign Office does not warn against travelling there. The fact that you all need to quarantine when you come back, well, that basically they are saying is tough. If you're flying flight only, British Airways, EasyJet say, OK, we understand you don't want to travel, you can have a voucher or rebook for a later trip. But Ryanair are basically just saying, use it or lose it. The seat's there. If you don't want it, we're not going to give you a refund.
We've had lots of people getting in touch saying, in a way, they don't have as much sympathy as you might expect for those that find themselves with their travel plans disrupted or losing money, because it's always a risk and they should have known that risk before they took it. But actually, there have been quite mixed messages, a lot of encouragement to get on, to come out of lockdown. We all know the travel industry needs us to go on holiday.
Oh, sure, yes. And look, we got the signal on the, actually speaking on your programme on the 5th of, sorry, forgive me, the 3rd of July. Yep, we are going to remove quarantine as a requirement from Spain and dozens of other countries as from the 10th of July. Of course, it didn't happen with Scotland until the 20th of July, but even so, anybody who was booked to travel to Spain, and I could quite happily be there right now, booked or took their holidays, got to the airport, got on that plane on the grounds that they just go and have a lovely holiday and then come back and they wouldn't need to quarantine. They didn't sign up for this. It's going to be hugely disruptive and expensive to them. And of course, it unstabilizes everyone else because they're now thinking, crikey, where's going to be next? And is it really wise to book a trip ahead? Now, travel, absolutely, the industry of human happiness completely depends on people being confident enough to book dream trips.
So let's talk about where else we need to be nervous of, or some of our viewers will be concerned about, Simon. If you were a betting man, have you got any ideas which other countries may well go this way?
What's really concerning is that, yeah, of course, there's going to be odd spikes popping up here and there. There's talk of some problems in France, in odd parts of France. Croatia, yeah, beautiful countries, generally handled the problem reasonably well. And what is really worrying is that you've got, certainly in the provinces of Aragon, of Navarra, of Catalonia in Spain, you've got some serious outbreaks. But that is nothing to do with people who are sitting now on the beautiful island of Menorca, for instance, thinking, well, there's no problem here. Why do I have to go and sit at home for 2 weeks? It's going to be, the travel industry hopes, increasingly targeted. So it's not just saying, right, it's a binary thing. Either Spain's okay or it isn't. Certainly parts of Spain, you're much better off being there than parts of England at the moment because the infection rates are much lower. So It's a right old muddle. The travel industry is, of course, absolutely livid. They call it yo-yoing. You know, okay to go, oh, no, it isn't. Oh, yes, it is. No, it isn't. Oh, you've got to stay at home for 2 weeks. They want to have properly targeted travel warnings rather than this blanket provision, which it's even been suggested to me is all to do with the app. When you come in, it only allows you to select a whole country. It can't say, oh, yeah, I've been to Mallorca or I've been to Tenerife.
So it's a technology
it just
holding back,
says
because we saw
Spain,
some people yesterday who'd actually swapped from Portugal to Spain thinking there were issues, and then find that they're now, got issues with Spain. So do we have any sense of how long this might go on for? So, for instance, if people have booked for end of August, September, something like that, have you been given any indication about how long this situation might be?
Well, certainly not from government, but talking to the travel industry, they are trying to make it so clear to the government how much damage this is doing to hundreds of thousands of jobs. And clearly, just imposing quarantine is probably likely to lead possibly to some more companies failing in the travel industry. I would be absolutely confident that I'd even bet a San Miguel beer on this, that by the end of August, if you're on one of the holiday islands, there isn't going to be any prospect of quarantine. I could be wrong about that, and I wouldn't book your trip on the strength of it. But yeah, it cannot stay in place. It cannot forever. And I think that probably my guess would be within 2 weeks, we'll find that suddenly the islands aren't on the quarantine list anymore, although of course we'll be warned that that could change at any moment. It's a terrible time to be in the travel industry, and it's not a particularly comfortable time to be a holiday maker either.
No, it's not. Simon, we appreciate you getting there. We know that was a bit touch and go, but thank you for joining us.